Hey, what's up? It's Peter Rosenberg, ESPN, WWE, Hot 97, all that stuff. I'm live from New York City right now. I'm hanging with Bear the dog, and you're not listening to the worst podcast, but at the same time, it's not the best podcast. No, literally, you're listening to not the best podcast. All right, talking about real life issues, real life things, real talk, real people. All right, not the best podcast. I'm Peter Rosenberg. Peace.
Welcome to the podcast. It's not the best podcast, but the expectations of the name, so you can't say we didn't warn you. Alongside Naldo, alongside Reg, it's me, the DIZ.
Mm. I like the way you said my name that time, son.
How'd I say it?
Rage.
That's right every week.
It's usually alongside Aldo, alongside Reg. It's me. But yeah, you hit me with the rage.
Whatever,
I
y'all.
was smooth this
Good
time.
fellas.
I like that.
Yeah, what's going on, guys?
Got our special guest here with us today.
We sure
Oh,
do.
special.
Yeah.
Special is the word. Do we even know this guy? Huh?
I don't know. I think he just showed up.
Sometimes.
This character?
Somehow we got the password to the Zoom.
Out-
We have Mr. Antonio Perales here with us this evening.
yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, we're gonna call him Tony because we don't think he's fancy enough to be
No.
Antonio.
That's
Nah.
my street name, Tony.
He
Gotcha.
tried to remind us with his name tag down there. Nah, son, you Tony.
Thanks. I'll take it.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know Tony, he is our very close friend. If my voice cracked. You
I
heard
thought you was about to start crying.
Getting mad emotional.
I thought you got emotional. I thought you got emotional.
Oh,
You guys are really
man.
close.
Like,
Get
damn,
that
son.
lip.
He's like my really close friend. My really close friend.
It's my quarterback.
This is my quarterback.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
all right, guys.
I'm
Let's stay
sorry.
on track here. He's our really close friend, our college fraternity brother.
Mad eyebrow raise.
Oh, yeah,
Eyebrow
dog.
raise.
A Jace. And all that good stuff, man. Obviously, we've been friends for probably going on 15, 16 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, so I mean, we're all family here.
Facts. Everybody in here know each other's mama.
That's true.
That's how you know it's real.
Yeah. Let me tell you something about Tony's mama.
Man.
That's the podcast.
And that's the podcast. Everybody loves Tony's moms, man.
Yeah, everybody's gonna try to look for my mom now.
Yeah.
They're gonna try to Google.
They won't be disappointed.
Morales.
So anyways, yeah, man. So Tony, tell us a little bit about your experience with quarantine, man. How's that been going for you?
Quarantine has been very, very interesting.
Mhm.
Changed a little bit of it. Actually, I resided between California and New Jersey. As a result of COVID, I had to come back to New Jersey full time. But prior to, I did the first 4 months of quarantine in California, and it was like sunsets, and I was like on the beach. And then I had to do quarantine in Jersey, and it was like I'm inside the apartment, snowing, and there's no sunlight. But it's been a very interesting experience nonetheless. I mean, I think if you haven't learned anything through quarantine, you haven't been paying attention. So it's been an interesting time. How about you guys? I mean, I know some of your quarantine stories, but I know, Jamal, you have a baby at home and y'all wiped up. How's yours COVID situation's been?
Yeah,
I'm not in Florida, so I don't even know.
Yeah,
They don't believe in COVID out there.
yeah.
I don't know what happens in Florida. I have
What
no
is even
idea.
thing in Florida?
No idea. Like, what's that?
What you
They're
talking
all
about? What you talking about?
Corona. We got Coronas.
Yeah, for real. Exactly.
They're actually on sale.
Word.
No, man. I mean, the best thing obviously to come out of this quarantine, I think for us, was this podcast.
That's
You know,
right.
I think we've kind of, that's well documented about how a lot of the things that we were going through all personally, individually, kind of birthed this podcast. So, it's been cool. I mean, I think it's episode 18 of the
Ooh.
podcast.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Ooh.
Wow.
It's
God.
been cool.
I'm so excited that you guys are actually doing this because I listen to the podcast and it's like I feel like I'm listening to like conversations with my friends. So like I'm like laughing in the background sometimes and getting all emotional. When I heard Marianne's podcast, by the way, I was just like, Marianne has a way of saying stuff to you. You just have to like, you don't think she's talking to you, but she is talking to you. You're just like, oh,
You got to
I'm good.
self-evaluate.
You
You
gotta
gotta
evaluate
hard.
your
reflection.
life.
It's reflection is what it is.
Hard.
Self-reflection.
And I
Yeah.
see, well, pre-COVID, I would see her like we'd go on vacation like every once in a while here and there. And she's one of those, it'd be 12 o'clock at night, you'd be drunk by the beach. She's like, yo, but you gotta think about the inner dialogue. I'm like, yo, I know.
Yeah.
But I love listening to it. But yeah, so I'm excited for you guys. I think this is awesome. So
Thanks, man.
One of the reasons we wanted to have you on the show, obviously, since you are friend and family of the show,
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest things that we, in creating the podcast is that we wanted to have daring conversations, right? And conversations that are really fruitful, conversations that, people can really take and conversations that people
Daring
really,
as fuck.
conversations that people can, relate to, and maybe explore things about their relationships in life and really benefit them. So, so I guess today's topic today, obviously, you are a homosexual male. Is it weird that I said
am.
that?
I don't know. It was just weird. Like you are and I'm like, I'm
Not the father.
Yeah.
Which I guess is a whole topic in itself, right? Like
What's that?
how we think people might identify,
Mhm.
and like completely like subject label them as one thing, but in the meantime, there's a whole spectrum of it.
Right. That's true too. That's true too. So I shouldn't assume, right?
Yeah.
So,
I
I
mean,
am.
no, I mean it's not, and it's not to
no,
be,
you're right. You're right. No, you're absolutely right. 100%.
and it's not to be
So
concerned now. You know
so-
what I mean? Like you don't feel like I put you on the spot to have to answer that question, but
Mhm.
I guess even us having you on the show today was just kind of to talk about our friendship with you and how that's grown, because when we met you, we weren't aware, of your sexual orientation, and not that we had to know, you know what I mean? But I guess it's something that as you're growing up, you learn to, I guess, grow with people and accept things, and I guess
yeah.
Hanging out with Tony when we first met, like we were pretty much assuming that Tony was a heterosexual male, essentially, right? Correct? Am I correct? Right? And
Yeah.
Tony at the time
I
was
played
living
that. I
as
played that
such.
role very
Right,
well.
right. That's what I'm saying. Like he was living as such, right? So
Yeah.
there was a point in time where Tony decided to come out and let everybody know that wasn't the case. Brought him on the show essentially to find out what that experience was for him, and in turn, like how that affected our relationship with Tony.
Let's start, I guess, prior to you, I guess, coming out. Like, how was that experience in trying to, I guess, portray yourself as a heterosexual male? I mean,
That's a. You seem so nervous when you like speak about.
no,
It.
because I'm looking at your face. It's just like,
I appreciate the sensitivity in your dialogue. I really do. And in all honesty, I, from a young age, had always been with both sexes for a very long time. I just hid one side and was active on the other side. And I was gonna say very active on the other side. But I think that the idea is just that we're almost taught, like, we're taught that there's something wrong with us, where you're taught that there's nothing wrong with you. And it's not like they say, oh, you're straight, you're good. It's, oh, they're gay, they're weird, they're like bad. And so I think that for a long time, I just hid my truth. And then there's a moment, and I think for each of you, you have this moment too, and it's not about your sexuality, it might be about something else, but there's a moment that you have to step in your truth. And there's not everything else, no matter what fear you have, that stepping into your truth is almost a necessity. So it might be you standing up against somebody, maybe to your parents, having a difficult conversation with your dad, but there comes this moment of like, I have to be in my truth. And I think my life, until the moment that I recognized that my truth had to be at the forefront, I could hide it enough to get by as a straight boy.
Mhm.
And now I don't think I can anymore. So I don't know.
So, what do you think was that like breaking moment for you where you were just like, all right, I'm done. Like this is who I am, and I need everybody to know that.
Mhm.
I think so I think when a minority, like a brown male, like Black, Latino, and I guess even for white boys too, but it's just the idea that I think that there comes a moment that um, we almost have to be independent so that, and let me rephrase this. For me, once I knew I was independent and I didn't need anybody was the moment that I said I can come out. Because if I needed you for something and I knew you were going to deny me, which many people did, um, but if I knew that somebody was going to like deny me or push me away, if I didn't have my own independence, I would have succumbed to needing them to continue moving on. So I made myself completely independent, which is a defense mechanism, which we could talk about forever, but completely independent so that I could come out. And then it didn't matter what anybody said because I could take care of myself. So I think that as Latinos and minorities, that's what we're taught. It's like, it's bad to be gay. And if you are gay and I don't like that, I'm going to take it out on you. And that's what you see, which is a stem of fear. And in our community, it's just not an acceptable thing. So
What do you say to someone that kind of wants to make that transition to be and to be open about their sexual orientation? What do you say to them if they don't have that kind of independence and or
Mhm.
like a break from everybody else?
I mean, it's the same way with you on, and I think it's interesting because there's always a correlation between the gay experience and the different experiences of oppressed communities, right? So whether it's your sexuality, like or male or female, or your race, there's these like barriers that kind of exist, and I think that most people, my advice to people that want to come out is simply that you can't live free until you're true. And there's no way around that, right? Like if you're in an unhappy marriage, you can't live free until you're true, right? If you are in bad situation, in a bad job, you can't live free until you're true. And that's the same thing I think with sexuality, that until you break away from something that you know isn't right for you, you're not living in your truth. And I think there's a lot of people, not just gay people, just a lot of people in general that just don't live in their truth because they're scared of what's on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, there's just a lot of correlations, I think, in my mind.
Well said.
No, for sure, for sure. And a lot of that stuff, you let it build up. It turns into problems later on down the line. It's like mental illness,
Mhm.
depression, anxiety, all that stuff. Uh,
And I think it's also interesting because I don't think it's like you're gay or you're straight. There's a very big spectrum, and I know you're all straight boys here. There's but there's still a level to your straightness. And not saying I'm trying to turn yeah, but what I'm saying is that each of you might have what somebody might identify as being gay, but you may have a feminine
mhm.
qualities or tendencies, right? Like you might do things that a purely straight man would be like, oh wow, that's gay. But it's like, no, I just want to take care of myself. I want to get a manicure or a pedicure. I want to, like those kinds of things. And so that's one spectrum. And the other spectrum is guys that beat up gay guys are really scared because it's something that triggers inside of them about the gayness, right? It's not like, oh, I hate gay people. It's something about you being gay makes me uncomfortable in my straightness. And that's where that spectrum comes into play. So all these hate crimes and fear crimes, those boys are queens deep down inside in some way. They trying to put something in their mouth. They're just trying not to.
Yeah,
But it's like it
it's
it
not that
just
type
really
of
does
program.
something.
I mean,
But
I don't think that's necessarily true because even if you look at hate crimes, like
Mm.
from race to race, I'm sure when like a white person is completely like beating a black person, I don't think that white person feels like they're deep down inside like black. You know what I mean? But I do think
well, they
the
yeah, I'm
phobia
sorry.
aspect of it is just being afraid of something that you don't really understand, and like reacting on that. I mean, I don't think you could say everyone who beats down and not that it's okay. Like obviously there's someone wrong with anyone who decides like physical violence is the way to handle something. But like
Mhm.
if someone, I wouldn't make that like assumption that if anyone who beats up on a gay guy is deep down inside of him gay.
I've seen it happen a lot, and I've seen it where my friends who might be gay are entertaining hooking up with a straight boy, and the
Mhm.
moment that straight boy gets exposed, now they take it out on my friends. So that is I see that a lot more often. And when I think of these hate crimes, I just think that there's a deep correlation. It's and it's connected to male fragility, which is a whole nother conversation. But it's connected to this space of, wow, you're stimulating something inside of me that I don't like. It's not you're ruining my day for being gay. It's you did something to me that caused this emotion, which now I'm going to act on. So I know it's not a blanket statement, but I do believe in that testament that there is a lot of that, and when it comes to those hate crimes, that there's a lot of this almost fluidity that's built in that causes people concern and they react on it. So
insecurity, either way.
Mhm.
So, insecurity, whether it's personal or
Yeah.
not, it's always personal.
So how did you like manage like how do you manage like yourself like around like your friends before coming out, and like what type of, I guess, feeling or anxiety did you like live with on a day-to-day basis, trying to, I don't want to say hide it, but maybe that is the right term, like trying to
Mhm.
hide it on an everyday basis, like what was that like?
I just overcompensated in areas that made you guys think I was cool, right? Like, oh damn, she's really hot. Wow,
Hold up,
that's Tony's
though, but we
girl.
never thought we never thought
Nah,
you was cool
we
though.
never.
Like it
It,
was
it's
nothing
where it,
cool about you.
all
Like we
right,
hung out
so
with you
let
because
me
you were a
take it
nice
back.
guy.
Let me take it back. All right. So maybe you didn't think I was cool, but you were just like, wow, he could get a girl, right? He could get a really attractive girl, a really pretty girl. And it wasn't like I was getting that girl just because I was hiding myself. I didn't recognize that it was still something. I was attracted to girls too. So it wasn't like I wasn't attracted to girls and I was doing it just to like hide. I just had two attractions. And then as I got older, one just completely went away. And the other one is no, I haven't. Yeah, it's been.
All right, cool.
The
Cool,
evolution,
cool.
everybody. Evolution. So
I
was there anxiety though? Like, did you feel like you were just like, you walking on eggshells, or it was like hot lava around us?
See, the thing is that from a very young age, I was already accustomed to this. Like I was
Okay.
already, so like by the time I was in college and high school, it wasn't like I was hiding a part of myself. It was just a side of myself that you just didn't see. So it wasn't like I was lying about stuff. And also I was never really asked about it. So it was just I had one experience here, and then I had a friend or two here that I would hook up with. So it was like this, it was a duality, not so much like a hiding of one. It was just there was just another experience that I was having. It just wasn't at the forefront of like conversations and stuff like that with my friends and
Mhm.
family. So it wasn't like I didn't have the anxiety. Um, I just knew it was me from a very young age. So
Mhm.
So I know that like we all have. Um, so I know when you came out to me specifically, that was a one-on-one conversation. Was it the same with you guys? I guess. Was
Nah,
it
I
a?
had to run down on him.
Oh,
I think
Ran down on him. I think
maybe
Naldo was with me too.
was it at the barbecue?
It
I
was
think
at
it
the
was together.
barbecue.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
Yeah.
ran down on him together. He was like, "Yo, son, you don't got something to tell us, bro? We heard everybody in here know except for us, man. What's up?" Like,
wait. Did you tell me before you told them?
I think we knew before you because I remember you reacting.
I'm not sure.
yeah.
I didn't react
I'm
because I. Oh well, we can get there, but I mean I already knew. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, and I think that people that I think people that know you know, right? And they're just waiting for you to be okay and comfortable with yourself to have the dialogue. But it's just a matter of when is the right time, like when do you feel comfortable saying it? And it's just the unfortunate thing that that's a burden that we have to carry that you don't, right? Like I have to come out to you and say I'm gay, where you don't come out to me and say, "Hey, mom, I'm straight," and they're like, "Oh my god, my son!" Like now it's like this imbalance, and I think that's where the anxiety that you speak of stems from, is that we're taught that we have to almost come to you, and like even this, me coming out to you, I have to come to you and say, "This is what I am. Will you accept me?" Right? You never came to me and said, "This is what I am. Would you accept me?" Right? Like it was just a common space, but we just have this additional like layer that's built into it. And I know there's a lot of gay people that are still in the closet. I know men that are married that are gay. I know men that are married, divorced. I know women that have had kids and are now single and still haven't remarried because they're scared to come out to their family. And like, I'm just like, I, I don't know. I just, it makes me feel sad, but I also know that everybody has their own constructs of reality, and they can be so stuck and fearful that they never actually come out. So
And I think that's that's why it's important for us to bring the conversation, right, as opposed to you coming to us with the conversation, because
Mhm.
as you being someone who we love and care about and consider part of our family, it's important to have these conversations because you never know what someone else is going through. And I
Mhm.
think that as we start building our fan base and our listener base, right? We want to diversify that. We don't want to have the same people listening because I mean, some of these stories are universal. Whether or not it's particularly about sexual orientations, people go through things like this that are related to different topics. And sometimes it
Mhm.
was hard to tell your parents, "Oh, I don't want to be a doctor, I want to be a comedian," or I don't want to do this, I want to do that. And sometimes like you need to hear what someone else has gone through and to know that they came out of it on the end of it, and they're in a good place, to be able to have the courage to do so yourself.
Mhm.
All the people still loving him.
Listen, well, and again, I know I've said this to you guys many times. I think a lot of the issues that we face stems from this male fragility space. Like it's not the mothers, they might be taken aback, they might be a little bit mad, but we're scared of our fathers, right? We're scared of our fathers because our fathers are the ones that determine, like I know women run the household. I know that. But when I'm talking about like in the authority, like especially over the children and over the boys, you have males that are at the heads of households, and it's almost like they're the ones based on their entire lives determine what's good and what's not good. And so when I speak of this male fragility, like when you come out to a father, most fathers aren't angry at you for being gay. They're fearful for what other people are going to think about them. And that balance in my understanding of human psychology changed the entire experience for me because it doesn't matter what you say to me. You could say the most hurtful things, but I know it's not about me coming out to you being gay. It's because you're scared of what your mother's going to say. You're scared of what your cousins are going to say because now you have a gay son or a gay daughter. So and I know I bring that topic up a lot, but it's just I feel like a lot of the things that stem from the household are centered in that. So it's an interesting thought when you think about it because it really impacts a lot of other things.
I think it has a lot to do with like I guess the gender roles or the gender
Traditional gender roles.
assignments. Yeah,
Yeah.
traditional, gender assignments because of there's these expectations. So as I guess as a dad, people would probably say like, oh, you didn't define those lines of like what's masculine, what's allowed as masculine in your house and what's not allowed as masculine in your house, or what can be seen as
Mhm.
feminine and not. So to the dads, maybe it's something that they see as like a failure because they don't really understand what it is, or maybe they
Mhm.
do and they've been hiding in their own lives for so long that now they're just afraid for their son.
That's a
Yeah, I
whole
mean,
nother
when you
topic.
say that
Whole nother
that
monster.
idea and all those you just said is really the key, and I think it's failure, right? It's them looking at their son and saying that I did something wrong, like I
Mhm.
wasn't hard enough on him, I wasn't tough
Mhm.
enough on him,
Mhm.
I let him do things that he shouldn't have been doing, like I didn't do my part. I think that's really part of it, and I don't know, Tony, if you want to expound on that a little bit about
Mhm.
your relationship with your father and coming out to him, if you feel comfortable with that. But yeah, I do think it's an important conversation because I mean I can tell you about my experience with my father, and obviously growing up in Jamaican culture where um, um, the maiming of homosexuals is almost part of the culture, right? They make
Mhm.
songs about it. They play the songs on the radio. People don't even understand what the songs are about,
Mhm.
and they make all these songs about like um, hurting and maiming people over sexuality, and
Mhm.
it's part of the culture, right? So, or my stepdad, one thing that he always told us is that I can forgive you for anything except for two things. Number one, don't call me and tell me you were driving drunk. Number two, don't be gay. Those are
Wow.
only two things. The only two things.
So one you could potentially kill people, and
Hmm.
the other one
Yeah,
you're just.
yeah. So that's how we were. That's how we were raised, right?
Uh-huh.
We grew up in um, a pseudo religious household. My mom was born again, and my stepdad, his family owned a church or had a church, their own church. So we grew up in that household where it was very conservative. We're relatively conservative. Um, we were Republicans.
He always sprinkles that part in
Yeah.
there because they
Uh,
found a Colin Powell
Colin
tribe.
Powell, right?
but yeah, so that's how we were raised. So I guess going through like high school and things like that that's when you start to come in contact or share the same spaces with people who are gay or potentially gay, and you
Mhm.
can. I, I think there's a certain point where you can kind of make the assumption that someone's gay, right? And like my attitude towards that was always to distance myself from those people. You know what I mean? Not to get to know those people, not to interact with those people because I never thought that it was a choice, but I also thought that I also knew that that wasn't something that I wanted to what's the
Be
word?
around,
Be around. Yeah, but
associate with.
Associate.
yeah, associate with, right? Those were people I didn't want to associate with, right? And it wasn't until like maybe like the end of my senior year, when I started ending up in these circles, really just hanging out with Naldo and his cousin Andrew, where
So you're blaming it on Naldo?
no, well, it's not blaming. It's really more of it's attributing it to them,
Yeah.
and opening like my horizons to different types of people, because like my crew, my clique, my circle was the same up until those last couple months of high school, where again I was in these circles with white people who I never hung out with, gay people who I never hung out with, and it was like, oh, like all these people are cool. Like, um,
And it's, I was gonna say, it's funny you even say that because I remember like you start stories saying, when in although everyone in high school everyone thought like I was gay and stuff. Well, not
oh yeah,
everyone. I guess Jamal's group of friends thought I was gay,
it was
right?
a running joke, right? We didn't
It was
think
a
it.
joke, yeah. Just because I hung out with like girls and stuff, and like I wasn't hooking up with none of them, so they all just assumed like, oh, he must be gay then. But I guess to me it was just like, you know, I never saw it as anything weird or made me feel like it's something that I had to be ashamed of hanging around with different types of people. I've always been secure in my sexuality, but this episode's not about me, so I was just
Well,
gonna
it
But
is.
I think,
I was just making the reference to the high school.
well, I think the security statement that you're making
Mm,
is where everything stems from. It's this
right.
insecurity of the unknown, of this person's gay. They they're the equivalent of a drunk driver. Like, stay away from that. Like, so it's like these slow, and this is why I say that the gay experience, while it is specific to our dynamic, it's very connected to even being an African American, in the United States, right? Like, it's almost like it's like these deep subconscious beliefs that cause you to treat a person a certain way without even getting the opportunity to know the person.
Mm,
And so as a result of that, you start building these like barriers, with people that really, we're all the same on the inside. And I know that
Mhm.
this group here knows that, but
Mm.
like,
mm,
it's that same correlation that like, I'm not an overly flamboyant gay man, but I also know that overly flamboyant gay men are the men that push forward our gay rights. It wasn't the men that are like me that can pass for a straight guy, right? Like, so I'm very, very appreciative of that, but it's the whole thing of that security, right? Like, you don't beat somebody up if you feel secure in your own space, right? Like, you're not going to be mean or belittle a gay person if you're secure in your own space. And as a parent, you're not going to be mean to your child if they tell you you're gay if you're secure in your space. But it's these vulnerabilities that cause us to react, and then you add in fear and all societal pressures, and that's where you get parents don't that disown their kids. And I know a
Mhm.
lot of friends that their parents have disowned them. And
Mhm.
so the opposite for me was, my parents didn't disown me, but I was still saying, you can still have me in your life, but it's not going to be on the terms that you want. I'm not going to be gay when I'm with my friends. Then I come over and now I'm a straight boy, and like, you're bragging to me about all my successes, but being
Mhm.
gay is like, we don't talk about that kind of a thing. But I
Mhm.
mean, Jamal, I think you talked about a lot of things, even like being a reborn Christian. I very much dislike when people try to hide their ideas about gay people behind religion.
mhm,
I'm not asking you if God said this is okay. I'm asking you
Mhm.
as your son, I'm asking you as your nephew or your niece. I want to know, can you accept me for what this is? And when people hide behind religion, I think it's very cowardly. I just think in general, using religion as a total reason for everything, it shows that you're not secure enough, and you're using this as a space. So because my father is a reborn, refound, born again Christian, whatever the
My
term
man
is. Yeah.
getting mad titles.
I don't know. It's something that has
That's,
started again. Yeah.
yeah.
But you said even like the parents, like that was a statement that my dad would use, right? Like you're gay because of what I did in my life. And I'm like, no, I'm gay because I'm gay, Dad. Like this is not has nothing to do with your past, because apparently reborn Christians believe that your children paid for your sins,
Yeah.
but God forgives you for your sins, but then makes them. So it's just like, Dad, you know what? I'll let that one go. But I think it's cowardly. So
Yeah, a lot of parents feel as though that their kids are a reflection of them, whatever they decide to do, so on and so forth. So yeah, that's a common misconception, yo. You know what I'm saying? I'm lucky enough for where parents is just on some shit where like they didn't care, like whatever I brought home, whether it be white woman, black woman, Chinese woman, male, whatever, just be happy, son.
You know,
Literally the words that came out of my dad's mouth, so I had really no reason to feel any kind of way.
I guess even
And
like sexuality talk wasn't something that was like brought up in my house at all. You know what I mean? So I don't even know like how my mom would have felt about it or anything. You know, but something else I want to talk about was like, you know, how we feel like we have to identify with like something on the spectrum, you know, like even when you say like African American or like being gay, you know what I mean? Like there's so many different stories out there. And yours is, you know, like I'm sure you're not like the gayest of the gays. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure even on your spectrum, there's some things that you might like. No,
He's
no
too
straight.
gay.
Like yeah,
That nigga's bad gay.
but he'll still find women. He'll still find women attractive or not, right? No.
yeah, but I mean, I'm
mean,
not gonna try.
you're right.
Like they're pretty. Like I'm like, oh, that's cute.
I could say like a guy's handsome
That's
or
not.
he's good looking. Like it's a good looking guy.
Yeah,
You know
that
what I
doesn't
mean?
make you gay.
See, but even
Right.
guys hearing other guys say that, they're just like, oh, you could think somebody's handsome. I'm like, Doug, you can appreciate beauty. It doesn't make you gay for saying that somebody is attractive. But again, it's that like that insecurity and like,
Right.
I don't know. I think I've just gotten past. We all care about what people think, but I've gotten very selective with who I choose to care about what they think. Right? Like I know that everybody has their opinion, and that's cool. But there's only a few select people, and some actually a lot of you on this call. Like I will call you for advice, and I will call you for my thoughts. But I get advice and opinions from everybody, especially when as my social media was like really growing. I was getting so much feedback, and most of it was positive. But then I would get these people that I'm just like, I'm not. If you don't want to watch me, if you don't want to watch my videos, if you're not interested in what I'm talking about, like, why are you watching me? There's something about me that's stimulating the excitement for you to keep clicking on my stories, not liking it, but then sending a comment. You know what I mean? So I've just learned I pick and choose who I listen to. And I also know that the art of not caring, which is a great book, like the subtle art of not giving a fuck, right? That is an amazing book if you haven't read that. But that concept, along with learning to cut people out of your life, for me as a gay man, has helped me substantially. Like if you have an issue with gay people, then you don't benefit from any of my gay accomplishments, right? Like you don't. So I've been very, very, yeah, like, because listen, at this point, like the other day I went to a meeting to present plans, and I have a hat. It's a New York hat, a New York Yankees hat, but it has the gay colors in the hat, right? And I had a moment of like, damn, should I go to a construction meeting with city officials who are older white men, and should I wear this hat? What are they going to think about me? But again, I was like, I'm picking and choosing who I care about. If you're going to choose not to pass my plans or approve me because I'm wearing a gay hat, then that's something that legally I know I can have a conversation about. You know what I mean? I may not, it'd be difficult to prove it, but I'm always thinking of it like, who do I care about? Who do I not care about? And I'm just learning that I care about less and less people's opinion as I get older. And I just think it's a skill that if we don't have it, we'll go crazy.
So tell us a little bit about, I guess, your experience in being in a straight male dominated profession, and how how that's
So
treated you.
it's funny because I mean, I'm in construction and we're developers. So I'm in like meetings with like, again, older gentlemen that have been running these things for years. And then I'm on construction sites with like these brute, like you guys are in like a corporate America space, and you deal with people that have to be polite to you, even if they don't really want to be polite to you. So there's like this formality that you benefit from. In construction, it's not like that. And example is we had people working on one of our sites. They found out I was gay. My business partner happened to be in the building when they were working, and they started making gay jokes about me to my business partner. And my business partner said, I'm sorry, is there something that's funny here? And everybody's like, oh, he's like, okay, because yes, Tony is gay. If that's a problem for any of you, you can come and speak to me. And my business partner, Wale, a tough Nigerian man. So, but like the idea is just like the support from my business partner is very, very important because we go into these spaces. But I think just being a gay contractor, like we finish things nicer, like we make things prettier, right? Like we pick nice colors. We have nice designs. Yeah, it's like straight boys don't think the way that gay boys think, right? Like
Cry
straight
for the
boys.
straight guy type
I
joint.
think,
Right?
I think that's a generalization, and I don't appreciate it.
Right? I don't like it either, bro.
But listen, men that are insecure are going to say that the fact that you know how to interior design is a gay quality or a gay feature, when in actuality, it's just a spectrum of the straight man. So that wasn't a broad statement. It was a pretty specific statement that gay men, we have better style than y'all because we just got to take care of ourselves. That's a whole nother like psychological thing too. But
Oh man,
if you want to talk about it.
Oh my god.
I take care of myself, bro.
Oh, the guy just got some body
But
butter.
again, and people thought you were gay. See, exactly.
People didn't think I was gay. That's funny. Yeah. Do you remember we went to that
You?
banquet and we were at the bar? You remember we went to the banquet and we went to that bar and we were talking to the bartender and he was gay and we were having a conversation with him and then you told him that you were gay and he was like, "You're the gay one?" I would have thought he was the gay one. Like I did feel a sense of pride in that moment because I felt like, oh man, like
damn, I'm put together.
Yeah, I'm put together.
Exactly.
I'm fly as
This-
well.
actually,
no
it was
one,
probably
no one
just your
ever
lip gloss.
mistakes me. No one ever
Probably wasn't
mistakes
It
me.
was
for
just
gay.
it was just your lip gloss. That's
Nah, man. I never got that misconception, fellas. So I guess we 3 for 4 out here. Does it happen to Daldo? Happen to
Okay,
Deuce?
got you.
Happen to Tony? Nah, bro.
Got you. I mean,
I mean, it's
man.
okay,
I'm cool
and
with
if
it.
it did happen to you, nothing. It doesn't make you any less of a man.
Right.
No, I'm not saying that that it would make me feel
It
any
sounds
kind
like
of way.
he's
Period.
disappointed that he wasn't
It's-
mistaken for a gay man.
That's what
Yeah.
I think. That's what it is. I think that's what it is.
Wait, I took Reggie to a gay bar in Miami. Reggie was hot stuff in there. I was protecting Reggie. Like Reggie was standing behind me. I
Hot
was
stuff
like, this is
everywhere.
a
Are you
straight
kidding me?
man.
Hot stuff everywhere.
Exactly.
Hot stuff
Because when he does
everywhere.
his hair like that, it doesn't.
Baby.
I wanted to show Reggie that gay bar drinks, like you straight people,
Bro.
y'all be overpaying.
Bro.
You go to a gay bar, you
So
get
true.
like 3 or 4
Bro.
drinks in one.
Done.
And if you don't know that, you be out
Yeah.
here loosey
You
goose.
sloppy.
right. It's
You
crazy.
sloppy.
It's so true.
I left
Like
that
the drinks
shit
are actually gross. And I
trash.
feel like offended. I'd be like, "Yo, what are you trying to
Yeah.
do? Are you trying to?
Can
take
you make
advantage
it
of me?
better?
Like,
Yeah.
Are you trying to get me
Yeah.
drunk? Yo, like, what's the? Like, this is not
Nah.
even right. Like, I feel like you're trying
But-
to take advantage of me before my eyes. Like,
So the bartender,
Listen.
but the bartender when we was in Miami came up. It was just like, "Hey, bro." He was like, you're not gay, are you?" I was like, "No." He was like, "Yeah, me neither. But the
Yeah.
tips here are great." I was like, "Yo, fam, what's up with these drinks though, bro? You pour like half the bottle in my shit." He goes, "Yeah, man. The owners actually implore that on gay night."
Mhm.
He's like, we get things moving along, so to speak. I said, "Oh,
Moving along.
Well, there's like a psychological standpoint behind it as well, right? Like if you have a gay guy who's like questioning or insecure, doesn't really know that he's gay, or he's
exactly
like
what he said."
first time at a bar, you're getting
Exactly
him
what he
like more
said.
intoxicated so he could feel more comfortable. So even in that psychology, but now it's part of our culture. And I think when you talk about like dating in the gay culture, it's a whole animal because we have a whole different subset of things to worry about that you straight boys don't have to worry about. And so drinks is the way to that's part of our culture. And it's kind of
Get
sad.
past your
but it's-
inhibitions. Almost.
Yeah.
Son,
Yeah,
let me
they
tell you
almost
something.
got
Yo.
you.
2 drinks, and I was like, "Yo, we gotta go, bro. We gotta get up out
it
of
happened to me too. Actually, we walked out. I was like, yo,
here." He said, "It happened to me too."
like 2 drinks, and it's like, yo, gotta go. It's getting hot in here.
Yo, I tell
Bruh.
you,
Taking off their
all you got to
shirts.
do is
Everyone's shirts started
Stop.
coming off, and I was like, yo, we gotta go. Like, it's getting really
you
hot.
were there kind of late. I don't know why you were there at that time now.
You
though,
know,
bro. That's
you
a
know,
whole
Because I was with you,
Naldo skipped
Tony.
the whole part where his shirt was off too. It
That's
was
'cause I
like,
with
"Yo,
Tony.
we gotta
Yeah.
go. Yo, we gotta go. Yo, we
Damn.
gotta. Yo, we gotta
Naldo,
go.
Naldo went for a late brunch, stayed for dinner. Go ahead. He was
Mm-hmm.
in there.
Mm-hmm. You said, so y'all turn this into a little dinner spot? Let me get my shirt off the floor. Hold on.
Tony, you have nieces and nephews now, right? Do you feel like you have
Hmm.
to? You feel like you have to like? I mean, they're probably not old enough yet. I don't think so. But do you feel like you're gonna have
Hmm.
to come out to them at some point? Do you feel like that's something that you're gonna have, like an obligation? Because I never really understood the obligation of like when people feel like they have to say whether they're gay or not or this or that.
Hmm.
Um,
My nephews and nieces already know, and they're young.
mhm.
Like they're very young, like 8, and then the other one is like 5 or 4. But I mean, yes, I will, because I think that me coming out was, it put eyes, and I don't, in my family, I know that people hold me to high regard. So when it came out that I was gay, and people like, now I have a bunch of other family members that started coming out like, I'm gay too, I'm gay too. And so I've had the conversation with family members where they're like, oh, it's because they saw you. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with me. I just told them that it was okay, because if you could be polite and courteous to me, you could be polite and courteous to your child. Because people do, they make a distinction. Oh, as long as it's not my child. And I've had conversations with people like that where I'm like, yo, I pray that your child does not come out gay, because if this is the way that you're going to speak to your child, I really feel bad, because if your child isn't strong enough mentally, you're going to ruin them. And so will I come out to them if they ask me? Yeah. Honestly, my brothers and sisters, my youngest brother, he knew when he was about 8 years old, and he would ask for my partner. And so like my siblings have been probably the biggest advocates for me against my family, if any, and it hasn't really been a lot of my family, just certain people. I actually just came out to my grandma like 2 weeks ago, because we went to,
What?
oh God. Wait, this is so funny. So my dad's mom, we're at her house, and my dad is, this is actually, if you're young, this could be really traumatic, but I'm an adult and I'm just like, lady, like, so I'm at my dad's house, and I'm sitting on the sofa next to her, and my sister's there with her, her man and her kids, and my sister's there with her boyfriend. So everybody's there, and I'm single, so I'm sitting there, and she's like, oh, when are you gonna have kids? And I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna have kids. And she's like, oh, why? And I'm like, I just don't really have an interest in kids. She's like, oh, okay, but what about a girlfriend? And I had a moment of like, I could just say no, or I was like, am I ready to engage in this kind? And I was like, you know what? Let's do
Blum,
this. I was like,
blum,
let's have this
blum.
conversation. So I'm like, no, actually, I'm looking for a boyfriend. And her response was, no, 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 no. I no, 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 no. And the first thing she says to me, and I knew she was gonna say, she said, God isn't gonna accept you. And my immediate response to her was, I have a very different relationship with God than you do, and I know that God loves me. It has nothing to do with you, right? And I've only learned that as a result of people using God against me. And I'm not a religious man. I believe in the power of the universe, which I also associate with God. And to me, that's a higher being, not a religion. So I'm engaging in the conversation with her, and I say, oh, don't worry about it. God loves me. She's like, no, no. So she's looking for something. And I'm just like, what is she looking
Oh
for?
no, not the
Holy
She
water.
oil.
pulls out the, what? No, she pulls out the Bible, right? She pulls out the Bible. And now, so I'm sitting right next to her. And so she pulls out the Bible and puts it on my stomach. And I'm looking at her, and she's like, I need to pray for you because God. And I was like, you don't have to pray for me. So now I'm in the living room. My sister is across with her boyfriend. And my sister starts to notice at this moment that my grandmother is trying to pray the gay out of me. And I'm
Oh
like,
my
girl,
Through
this
your
is
belly
God,
button, though.
fam.
this through my
Through your
belly
belly
button. I
button.
was like, you
Yo.
got to put it in different areas if
Right?
you
Yep, I was gonna
Yow.
say. That's what I was gonna say. I
You out
mean,
here through the
I
front
pushed
door.
it. I was
this is a family program, but
This is a family program, but
listen,
so
I ain't gay, but $20 is $20.
$20
hello,
is $20.
hello. The first time I saw that shirt, I screamed. I
Yo,
died. So she puts it on my stomach, and I'm just looking. I'm like, listen, like, I don't. I'm like, listen, it's okay. I don't need your like. I was like, and I said this to her too. I'm like, I don't. And I would say this to anybody who's coming out. You have to get to the point that you will take their approval, or you will take their acceptance, but you don't need their approval, right? Like, I will take it if you'll accept me, but I don't need your approval. So whether you decide to accept me or not, that's on you. But I'm coming. But that takes a long time to get to.
Mhm.
Back to the story. Grandma puts the Bible on my stomach, and I'm just like, what the hell? So now she pulls the Bible away, and now she keeps going. She's like, but why is it? And I was like, was like, listen, like I'm a gay man, and I'm like, and I'm looking for a partner, but I said boyfriend, and I also recognize this. I couldn't say the word gay in Spanish because the way that they would say it is pato, right? Like, but to me, pato is such a derogatory term, so I was just like, I'm gay, like I said it in English. So now she's going on. So now she stops, and I'm like, okay. Oh, I'm gonna go and grab a drink. She's like, oh, you're running away from me. I'm like, no, I'm just going to grab a drink. And I'm like, if you want to have this conversation, we can have it. I come back. She pulls out the Bible again, and now she puts it on my heart. So now I'm sitting in my living room, and I'm just looking at her, and she's like, God, she's like, listen, I want you to get into heaven. And I was like, yo, I'm getting into heaven. Like, I don't know what. So the end of the conversation, like, so then she just sat there. Like, we sat there awkwardly, and I was just like, do you have any more questions? Like, are you good? And then that was like the end of it. I haven't told my dad this story yet, but like, it happened a few weeks ago, and I was just like, but I think about it. If I was a 13-year-old boy saying that, and you tell me God doesn't love me, but you've taught me that God is the one that I need the approval for, why would you say that to a kid? That's based in your fear. You know what I mean? That's based in your fear, your insecurity. So, but as an adult, I'm like, I'm ready to engage in this conversation. And I don't feel like I owe it to her, but I just felt like she was asking for it. I was about to get extra gay too. Like, abuelita, no te preocupes, tú estás bien.
About to put the Bible on the chain for you.
Yo, but it was crazy.
Oh,
She
man.
kissed it, put it on my stomach, put it away, kissed it, put it on my heart. I was like,
Grandma mad prayer calls right now. I'm telling you right now.
how, yo,
Get up
she
at
praying
4
right
o'clock
now.
in the morning right now.
That's so
Yeah.
endearing though that she put it like on your
So
chest
crazy.
and like prayed, kissed it and put it on your chest. Like she really wanted to pray the gay out.
I'm really grateful for you and your experience, because just going back to my dad, right? Like, me and Aldo have been friends for 20 years, right? Me and Reg have been live brothers for going on 17 years, right? Out of all my friends, the only one he ever asked about is Tony. The only one he ever asked about is Tony. He don't ask about Naldo. He'll ask about Reg. The only one he ever asks about is Tony. It's really a testament to like the person who you are. And he's probably you're probably the only gay person that he knows. But I think that you have erased all the stigmas that he had in his mind around gay people. And I think
I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I think that those are the types of relationships that people really need to have to erase the stigmas. And again, it surprised me because he'll actually say the words, "I love that guy."
Aww.
That's what's up, man. But I am feeling a certain kind of way, yo, because me and you, you know what I'm saying? We had some meaningful ones too, y'all. Like, that's what's up, though. That's what's up. That's what's up. Tell Rudy I said what's up, though.
Yeah, I'll tell you. But you know what it is? Is that like it's really the impact, though, right?
Now I'm just playing, man.
Yeah, it's really the impact because like what you've done for him is you've changed him, right? You've changed his outlook. You've changed his perspective on things, and you've essentially changed his life in a way that it would have been very hard to do otherwise. I couldn't convince my dad that it's okay to be friends with gay people. You know what I mean? By him meeting you, it's completely changed that for him. Like now, I'm the go-to gay person. I'm the go-to person for all things gay.
Awesome.
I'm the go-to person for all things gay in my
You
family.
liaison.
You're the
I'm
progressive
gay
liaison.
Yeah, I'm the progressive liaison for gay people in my family. So, you've really like your story has impacted my family in that way.
I appreciate that. And honestly, all of your families have always been so kind to me. You know what I mean? Like, even at Reggie's wedding, I remember I'm in like, oh, so we're by the pool now. So now you're seeing gay Tony. And I have my little shorts on and I was wearing like a shawl. I don't know if you remember that shawl that I had.
Yeah.
And I remember walking by and Reggie's dad is there with like his aunt and like it was a few of them. And I had like this moment, like, I'm like, when somebody's looking at you, but I was just like, yo, like, but it was like they were all looking at me, and then later on they're like, "Wow, that was a really nice shawl that you had on."
Yo, my
and
pops
like,
my pops actually came up to me after he saw you with that shit on. He was like, "Yo, that's a good color."
I think I asked about the show too, yo. This was a pretty cool.
Yo, he said Tony on that mark.
Yeah, I don't know who wears a
Tony
shawl
was
in
good out here,
100-degree
Yeah.
Mexican weather, but
I don't know who wears a shawl poolside
listen.
either.
Yo, my
like,
man went and
gay
spent his
people.
whole cash app on, on hella scarves down there, son.
No,
Scarves
but
and
Jamal,
shawls.
like you were saying about like that impression, I have always been aware that I am the first in a lot of places.
Mhm.
And as a result of that, I've carried myself as such. So even coming out as a gay man, I knew that when I was going to your house or seeing your family, that I was representing an entire community behind me. You know what I mean? So like, and even in every experience, I recognize that I do have certain amount of influence, and it's not like I just recognize it because, like, even an example with your dad, like, I know that it's not common to have a gay person there, especially like in a Jamaican culture, or even in Haitian culture. Like, it's just any culture that is Caribbean or South American, it's just there's like this stigma behind it. So I've always taken that with an ounce of responsibility in how I carry myself. But then I noticed that they'll accept me, but not the gay queen that is like too effeminate. You know what I mean? And so now the gay initiative is now to look at even the most feminine gay man as an equivalent to me because they are. But in the straight community, they're the female, they're like the girly girl, when in reality we all are. It's just a matter of how much we show it. So I really appreciate you saying that. That really made me feel very nice. Thank you. That's really sweet. So
So did you feel like you
thanks.
were representing the whole community on this podcast this evening, and that's why you dressed like a lesbian?
Mm. You looking real Ellen-esque though.
Yeah,
for real.
definitely. Very Sinead
You
O'Connor.
real.
I just want to say Tony slept in my bed for 6 months prior to him coming out, and I just that changed my perspective on I guess gay people, because 2 years later when he came out, I was like, man, he didn't try anything. So
Maybe he find you attractive, nigga.
Which
Like,
guess
was
they're not.
yeah, right. Naldo was like, I tried everything and nothing worked.
Real opportunity.
Oh, I said I tried everything. Nothing worked. 6 months, man. He didn't even touch me.
it was the toe stripe. It was a turn off.
It was the toe stripe. Tony don't like toe stripes, dog.
Wow. Yo,
'Cause he's
you
the only
guys mentioned the
tiger.
toe stripe. You guys mentioned the toe stripe in one of your episodes, and I saw his toe. Like it was like when you get scared, I was like, oh, like I know exactly what that toe looks like. That's just crazy.
Glad I could have that impact on you guys, man.
That
Oh,
tiger
man.
stripe toe, son. That's funny as fuck.
Yeah, man. So Tony, tell the people where they can find you if they're looking.
Lessons, if they're looking. My OnlyFans, no. Lessons from Tony is my IG. It's one word, lessons from Tony. I know we didn't talk about what I do, but there's some lessons. If you're interested in following me, I'm on IG, and that's it. Just IG,
Keep
lessons
it real
from Tony.
simple. Real simple.
Yeah. That's the demographic right there.
Cool.
I have another meeting in like 5 minutes. I've been in meetings all day.
So
I'm tired.
Oh, Tony's so important. Yeah. Well, thanks for having the show. All right, okay, bye.
Well, that's the podcast. Like, follow, subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Rate us, review us, all that good stuff.
Don't forget to
forget to
share.
share.
There you go. Yo, son, it's mad crazy how you said you got me in 5 minutes. Don't nobody had no meeting at 8:27. All right.
At 8:30.
You just lied to us. Just go to your meeting, yo. Get out of here.